Well, guys, good morning for me. It's a Wednesday morning, almost Thursday. It's a hump day here in Australia. But I've got to say, I've got this guy back on our show who's an outstanding guy. I spoke to him for Soundwave earlier this year. They've got a new album coming out this Friday in Australia called Nexus, and Genesis, not Nexus, Genesis. And I'm speaking
No,
to
no, it's called Genexus.
Genexus. See, what's our slang? Oh, anyway, he's Dino. Good morning, Dino.
Good morning to you, and it's actually good evening to us.
Yeah,
We are currently on tour in the U.S.
yeah,
supporting our new album, Genexus, which will be out in 2 days. So
yeah.
if you guys get an opportunity, go out there and buy it, support us, so that way we can come back to Australia and play for you guys.
See, before I go on to the album and some other news that I want to say, what's our slang, Dino? We call it Genesis, but over in America they call it Genexus. It's the same wording, the same thing, but the slang that we've got, we just abbreviate and translate it a totally different way. It's like we call it aluminium, you call it aluminum. It's exactly the same thing.
Okay?
Yeah,
You're the first person I heard
yeah,
call it Genesis
yeah,
instead of Genexus. Out of all the other Australian interviews I've done, you're
yeah,
the first person I know that.
yeah,
For us, the X is, you pronounce the X.
yeah. So Genexus, here we go. But before we get into the album,
There you go.
before we go into the album, Dino, I want to say what an outstanding performance you did for Soundwave earlier this year. Adelaide was absolutely bloody hot. It was like 42 degrees here in Adelaide. Water was like the hottest you can get. I mean, down the front, they were passing out water along the stage, but you couldn't drink that. It was so warm. But just want to ask, how was it for you guys to be in that heat up on that stage when you performed?
Um, it was definitely hot. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. But
Mm,
where I'm from in LA, we get weather that gets up to that hot, and we've performed outdoors before. You know what I mean? We perform all over the world, so we're used to extreme temperatures.
mm,
But I'll tell you one thing: when we played that show, right after the show, I pretty much dunked my head in cold ice water
mm.
because I was like, my head was throbbing, and my wife was there, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're red. You need to put cold water on yourself." So she wrapped a cold towel around my neck, and it actually helped a lot. So I was really happy.
And for me, I had to go back the following day to see Judas Priest and so forth, and I've got to say that was even, if not hotter, than the day before. So, Steve,
Wow, I have to commend everybody for standing out there in the heat to see Spear Factory. We completely appreciate that, and we are completely humbled by
mm,
everybody who just stayed there and watched us. And even there was even a slam pit
mm,
in the heat, in the direct sunlight,
yeah,
which I don't know how they did it, but I don't know, man. It was definitely really cool that people did that for us. And
yeah,
we appreciate that, and hopefully we'll be able to get back there next year.
yeah. Well, going on to the new album, it will be released here in Australia this coming Friday. Genexus, it's just an outstanding album. What I want to go into is the technology that you guys use in this album. It's just flawless. I mean, it's absolutely smack bang in your face, brutal. I mean, those drums, the bass, the guitars, the melody, everything is just pure class. I want to ask, as a songwriter, how was this for you, complete with, say, like the manufacturer?
How would I compare it to that? Is
Yeah,
that the question you're asking?
yeah,
Oof, it's a hard. That's a hard question for us because, we are always trying to be forward thinking. We always try to bring new elements in the Fear Factory. But at the same time, we didn't want to change anything about Fear Factory. We wanted to be the core Fear Factory of who we are, and that's a combination of all the records. And we also influenced ourselves. On this record, we had a live drummer, and that definitely added a whole new element to the last record, compared to the last record, compared to the Industrialist, which we used a drum program. But this one we had a live drummer, and he brought a whole new groove element and a whole new organic brutality that we wanted to bring on the record. And we used Reese Hoover to produce the album, and we used Annie Sneap to mix the album. And those guys, they know tones. They know how to get the right tones, and they knew exactly what we were looking for. And I think that the combination between, Reese is more digital, industrial keyboard sounds mixed with Andy's more organic tones, the hybrid between the two created just this brutal tone that exactly what we were looking for this album.
And going on by the drums, they just sound like a machine here. I mean, if you guys were in battle, which you normally are when you perform, this drum stuff on this album is absolutely flawless. I mean, if you crank it up on the bass on your stereo system, this will rattle the windows. I mean, it's absolutely flawless. I mean, all taps off to him, man. Congratulations to him, man. I mean, it was flawless. But how was it?
That was the tone we were going for. So
yeah, how was it like for you when you were going into the studio after coming back from Australia earlier the year and doing the process work for this album and writing the material for this album? Was it like going through the channels like all over again, like you're like a little kid? You're just itchy. You got this dream, you got this vision, put it on the paper, but then trying to get that sound that you want, the quality sound that you want. How was that process going through? Just coming off the tour, back in the studio, doing all the things all over again.
I'll tell you what the benefits were. The benefit for us was that we took our time to write the album. We took a year, pretty much a year to work on this record. Of course, we did tours. We went to Australia, we went to China, we went to India, and we did all that. But we pretty much took a whole year to let these songs marinate and to create the perfect tones that we wanted for the record. And themes, the concept of the record, what the record means, what we were going to sing about, the titles of the album, the title of the song. And it felt really good because we actually were really well prepared before we went into the studio with Reese Hoover. Of course, once you're in the studio, things are going to still change. And things are always changing and evolving. But the cool thing about it was that we actually had time to see the songs evolve. Because sometimes you're rushed and you kind of have to live with what you put down. Whereas this time, we actually took our time and we let the songs evolve and marinate and listen to them over and over again. You really take out all the bad parts, redo all the good parts and make them all better. So we had a lot of time to construct the songs, to create a killer structure, to come up with the killer tones. And of course, Reese Hoover with his killer production, we were able to create something that we believe and we feel in our hearts that every true Fear Factory fan is going to love it.
How important is it to yourself and also to the band to stay relevant today in the music world? I mean, music business today has changed. I understand that, and I know some bands are making it, some bands aren't because of whatever the business side of things is, and also the downloading and all of that kills a lot of bands. But how important to the band as Fear Factory to stay relevant in the music business as it is today?
Well, it's definitely very important to stay relevant in the music industry today because you don't want to become irrelevant.
Yeah.
So one of the main things that we like to do is definitely concentrate on writing great songs. 2, staying out there. What I mean by staying out there is going on the road, playing in front of people's faces, doing tours around the world, and just staying busy can keep us relevant still. I mean, we can still be doing classic Fear Factory, and it would be relevant. We could be doing Demanufacture Part 2 and still be relevant. You know what I mean? Because those records, and I believe our sound stands the test of time. And I think that's the reason why we're still relevant today.
And that's why a lot of fans will go back to Demanufacture, because that was just such a great album. I mean, if you walk down the street and you say Fear Factory, the first thing that probably pops up is Demanufacture.
Yeah, I mean, it was a groundbreaking record for us, worldwide, and it's still one of our biggest classic records.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, that record was definitely, we felt it was ahead of its time, and most people who listen to it still feel that way,
I mean, for me, listen to Genexus as well. It's just got pure class, like Soul Hacker, and even the last song on the album. I mean, when I was given this as a promo, I said to myself, I bet you this last song on this album is going to be something special, and something special indeed it was. Over 8 minutes long, the last song, but you've got to listen to the whole album from start to finish to get to that last song. I mean, what can I say? You put this in a parcel, and it just wrapped up in a big ball, and it just, for the fans like myself, to open it up, to really dig into the song content from start to finish, it's just amazing.
Yep. On the last track, we always wanted to do this really big, epic last song that always closes our record. On previous albums, we had songs like Resurrection and Timelessness. On Demanufacture, we had A Therapy for Pain. We always have these big, epic outros, and Expiration Date is exactly in line with those early records as far as having that big outro. Because, we always feel like all the brutality that's before all that, like the songs Autonomous Combat System, even heavy tracks like Soul Hacker and Potomac, even Battle for Utopia, those are all ripping songs. But then when you get to the outro, you're like, okay, this is like, it's much more calming, but it's big, it's epic, it's got a lot of passion behind it. Bert singing his heart out, and it's great. It sounds beautiful.
Well, just recently we had the Lamb of God new album released in Australia, number 2 on our Australian charts. You guys are going to release the new album here in Australia this coming Friday. We want to push this album to number 1. I mean, on debut, we want to get this to number 1. I mean,
I will keep my fingers crossed that happens.
Because
I will keep my fingers crossed that happens.
What I'm seeing with the supporters of music here in Australia is that we're sick and tired of shit music that come out. I mean, I'm not saying in the metal world. I'm saying, the divas and all that. We're sick and tired of it. We want the metal to come back. So looks like we got a different shapeshift movement here in Australia, and we want to get this new album to number 1 on debut on the first week.
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it'll happen. Me and Burton have been doing, I can't even tell you how many interviews that we've been doing in the last few days for Australia, to try to help promote this record to go to number 1. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that it goes that direction. And I hope so.
And if it does, we're having a massive party when you guys come back down.
If it does, we will be down there sooner than you think.
Yeah. Well, Dino, I just want one more last question. What is your personal favorite of this album? Like, is there any favorite for you, or they're all favorite for you?
I don't look at albums. It's hard to pick a favorite album. You know what I mean? Or a favorite song. They're all my babies. How do you pick your favorite child? You just can't. They're all your babies, and that's how I look at it. People ask me all the time, "What's your favorite song?
Yeah.
What's your favorite album?" It's like, I can't tell you. Sometimes every song sometimes affects me differently. Like I can tell you some of my favorite songs to play live.
That's
Soul Hacker on this new record is one of my favorite songs to play live right now. But then again, we've only been playing 3 songs, so we haven't played all the songs yet. So but live, Soul Hacker is my favorite because just the crowd's jumping up and down. We played it at festivals with this 20 to 60,000 people there, just jumping up and down, loving the track, and it feels good, So it provokes the feeling in me when I see people going crazy. You know what I mean? It's an emotional feeling, and certain songs like that, like Soul Hacker, like Edge Crusher, or like Southside Sister. Those are great songs. I have V-Manufacturer, Zero Signal. I mean, I can go on and on,
Yeah.
But as far as favorite songs and favorite album, I can't really.
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
It's the same with me. I can't pick favourites. I just like it as it is. But Dino, it's all the time we got for, man. We cannot wait for the new album this coming Friday, released in our stores. And we want to get this album to number 1. And thank you for rejoining us back on Blood, Sweat and Metal again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, man.
Thank you.